The channel, we're TJP and we're dynamite with TJ Perkins, KWK Retro Kayfabe Heroes.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another KWK Kayfabe Heroes Retro Wrestling unboxing and review. And today on the channel we got Variant A and Variant B, 1 of 200 TJ Perkins. But for all your TJ Perkins needs, head over to any of the suppliers for KWK figures. There is a lot of different ones worldwide right now, shipping from. Find the one that's cheapest for you in the shipping. Got to get a deal out there, of course. And of course, we've unboxed a lot of these figures over the last year plus, I guess, at this point. And TJP is the latest and greatest. Same wave as Taka Michinoku. We already unboxed Taka on the channel. Check that one out if you did miss that. And we'll do some comparisons of TJP to Taka and some others later in this video. And of course, we're going to do this video like we do all the other videos on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And of course, you guys know I film a lot of videos. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. 4 videos every single day, a podcast every single week, 60-hour day job, during the week. Just a lot going on, of course. But I'm knocking out review after review here today on this fine Mother's Day Sunday. My wife will be home very soon. But Kyle, where are you going with all this? Well, as I sit here in between videos, I'll check my phone. I'll get something to drink or something. But I was just checking my phone. In a weird coincidence, I just saw the news that Sabu passed away. Now, I'm wearing an ECW shirt, which is very ironic, of course, to just find out this news. But man, oh man, Sabu, one of my all-time favorites, revolutionized the wrestling business. There's no doubt about it. And for a young kid like me in high school, where wrestling, of course, was fading a little bit, we were getting into more of an attitude era, guys like Sabu kept me watching wrestling. So Sabu, RVD, the Dudleys, Tommy Dreamer, so many over there at ECW back in the day really kept me in the fight, kept me in the hunt, and Sabu was a big part of my wrestling fandom. So man, very, very disappointed to hear that news that Sabu passed away at 60 years old. And it's one of those weird things where they say that your life comes full circle. A lot of people die around their birthday, which is always creepy to me as well. My birthday's coming up. Send the card in the mail, of course. But always creepy to think about that as well along the way. But Sabu just recently, like 2 weeks ago, had his final match ever. So it's like almost like your life comes full circle in one way and then it ends. So a little bit of a crazy headspace right there. But wanted to give a shout out to Sabu, of course, for all the years of memory, of course, as well. But now let's get down to TJP. Let's try to bring it up a little bit here. And I guess we'll start with Variant A. How about that? Kind of makes sense. And then we'll do Variant B. But we got TJP right here. He's TNT Dynamite like a young AC/DC or like a young TJ Hooker. Who knows what he's up to here? But TJP feels like a character that maybe doesn't feel like has quite the name value to be in a line like this, as it's been mostly classic guys. He is definitely the most modern guy in the KWK line so far. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Ty McFarlane, any thoughts? You're going to agree with me because you don't know anything about wrestling? That makes sense. I agree with that. But TJP's had a Mattel Elite in the past, so we'll bring that out in a little bit here. But an interesting one. But TJP is pretty big overseas, especially, I believe, in the Philippines. So a lot of the sales going over there. So it might not seem, the best business move on paper, maybe, if that's the way I want to put it, I guess. I guess I just did. But you got a lot of overseas sales for him as well. So an interesting dynamic with old TJP. But there's old TJP looking only like a TJP could look, of course. KWK logo up there, Variant A, 1 of 200, very Hasbro style packaging once again. The figure right there in the Macho Man Rick Martel pose. What? Shawn Michaels pose. Where'd you pull that out, Todd McFarlane? I thought you didn't know anything about wrestling. But looking good right there, of course, TJP. And then on the back, we got the cross sell. We've unboxed all these on the channel. Of course, you got a little bit of a tail of the tape. All that we'll read. A lot of title victories as well. Got a little thanks down here. And of course, special thanks to Kyle Peterson. Shout out to KWK for thinking of me and putting me in there. Looking pretty good. But it does say TJP, height 5'10", 167 pounds. Born September 3rd, 1984. from Kansas City, Missouri. Beautiful this time of year. I was just down in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago. I bet TJP's hit all the barbecue spots. I bet he has. I bet he has. And then we got all of his stuff going on right there on the back. All of his title belts, all of his victories as well. 2025 KWK branding. Looking pretty good, but let's get TJP off the card. See what's going on. Now, first thing I noticed in the package, it didn't seem as heavily glossy as the Taka Michinoku. I was not a big fan of the heavy gloss on that one. We'll see how TJP looks. It looks like there's some gloss. See you later, goodbye. But maybe not as thick as Taka. See you later. Whoa, just clip the screen right there. Oh, yeah, he's pretty glossy once again. I got to say, he's very glossy in the face right there. Very glossy across the board. So it does get dumbed down between the plastic. But once again, he does got that Taka very, very heavy gloss. And I think that's too far on the gloss side where I don't want no gloss. I'm not against total no gloss. Once again, I do have Law Resistance right here. We got those guys. Those were just a total no gloss at all. These are on the other scale of that. We just got to meet in the middle. We got to dial it back by about 50%, I do think, right there. But still looks good. I like the pose there, but I don't know. I don't know if I prefer no gloss to full-on gloss. Preferably in the middle, but if I had to go one way, I'd probably go this way, in all honesty, right there. But very, very heavily glossed on TJP right here. That is for sure. But an interesting one. Now, once again, TJP is a guy I haven't seen wrestle in quite some time. He's been in and around different. I think he was in TNA for a little bit as well. He's a guy that's been around the salt mines of the wrestling business. But I'm not sure if I could tell you that's TJP right off the way. And that's probably just my unfamiliarity with TJP on the day-to-day wrestling looks, apparently, maybe. But he does got 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. He's got a little bit of side eye. I don't know if they got that from you, Todd McFarland. You love a little side eye, but he's looking off just to the side a little bit in this one. Once again, your mileage may vary there. Does got a nice coat jacket over the top. We got the hood sculpted in the back. Now, I believe this does come off, it looks like. Yes, it does. So, one of those ones, it's always nervous to me. Can I get this back on if I take it off? I'm always scared of that, but you got the little buttons on the side. All right. And then we got them on the other side. Oh, risky game here. I might not be able to get it back on. See what goes on there, but there's that. Can I get this off? Very interesting. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can get it. A little tight around the head and neck. I hope it goes back on and off pretty good, but it does come off, so there we go. I got one off, and that's a way, if you have the variant, you could display them differently if you want to. But we do got that going on, the red and blue attack going on, very nice. A nice little overcoat vest jacket for him. Then we get old TJP here, and it's interesting because it doesn't look like there's as much gloss on the chest as the arms and the head for him here. So a little bit around, and I think it does look better. It gives him a little bit more personality with the vest, I will say. So I'll be displaying him with the vest on. He does got the white wrist tape, the white tape on the hands as well. And then you got the very decorative pants down here in the gold, the blue, and the red, all the way down to the boots. Almost looks like Nikes, but not quite Nikes down here, but looks very, very nice as far as those go. Once again, the Macho Man, Shawn Michaels, Rick Martel body position here. A classic one for retro figures. Now his arms do go all the way around here. Ooh, waist doesn't want to move. There we go. Waist wants to move. Somebody took me to task in the Taka comment saying, oh, you say it wouldn't move because you said the paint. And it wasn't the paint, it was the gloss. Same thing. I'm painting with the big brush here. It's an overcoat over the body. Gloss, paint, whatever you want to call it. That's why it stopped it from moving. But this one does move a little bit better than Taka right out of the package. But once again, I got to give KWK line very good credit with these because the arms do move very, very nice, very stiff, but also loose enough to move and not too loose. Nothing worse than loose arms like that. Nobody likes that, of course, or at least I do not. This is number 97 for those keeping track at home, and he should fit on a Mattel ringside collectible stand using discount code Kyle to save yourself 10% at ringside, of course. Looking good, though, as far as standing on a stand. Just a bit glossy for me, though. Just a bit too glossy for old TJP. A lot like Taka Michinoku. But now, going over to variant B here, a lot of the same stuff. Blue card instead of red, 1 of 200. Paint variant, once again, got to get the most out of your molds. We know how that goes. Got some of the suppliers on the back. You got the cross-sell. You got the thanks. You got all the usual stuff. Don't need to read the back on this one again, as we already did earlier. But looking pretty good, all things considered. I do like the packaging on these. They've had some packaging changes over the years, as we do know. Or year. What is time, once again? We did have the removable slip card, and then now we got this version here. And get it out. There we go. See you later. And we got TJP ready to rock and roll, strut and stroll. So basically, same figure once again. Makes all the sense. Got the black hair there with the little poomph on the top right there looking good. Same body style, but this time you get the red and the blue on the vest. Actually, it's basically inverted from the last one. So how do you prefer? You can mix and match them if you want to. You do get the green shoes on this one. Very cool there. Number 157 on this one for those keeping track at home. KWK brand 2025. You got the white, the yellow, the red, the green, the blue, all kinds of color down here. And then, of course, the color on the vest jacket on this one. Same articulation as you can imagine. Moves pretty freely. Yeah, moves very freely right over here. Looking very good. No problems with that. Now, Taka was very stuck, as I did say, but this one doesn't seem to have any issues there. But TJP looking pretty good in the second go around the sun here. I think I prefer the first version over the second, but that is a personal preference, as some may say. And I may display these like this just to make them a little bit more different even. It is, once again, choose your own adventure. But I do got Taka Michinoku right over here. And both these guys got that very, very glossiness to them here. So a different walk of life with the gloss on these two here. For some reason, though, Taka seemed even more glossy than TJP. When I'm just looking at them right here, you got quite the shine just off the heads on Taka. You still got some shine off TJP, but Taka seemed to be even more glossy, if that matters to anybody keeping track at home. I do got TJ Perkins Mattel Elite right there. I had that handy ready to go. So there it is, TJP and Taka, of course. Looking pretty good, all things considered. I think the biggest gripe I have with these two is the overly glossy nature, just to dial back a little bit there. But two characters we really do need. I don't know, TJP, I don't know if anybody was screaming for it, but Taka Michinoku, a guy we've needed figures from for a long time. Great to have this here. And I'm okay with TJP getting a figure. I have no problem against it. But I think as far as popularity and maybe sales, I could see Taka selling out first. But you never know. It's a wild life, of course, as we know out there. So there it is, the latest and greatest from the KWK line, of course, Taka Michinoku and TJP. Let me know again in the comments, what are your thoughts on these two? What's your thoughts on TJP? You picking him up? Long game, no game? Not so sure game? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bells. We got videos every single day, and then some. We got even more content for you on YouTube channel memberships and Patreon, your best way to support the channel. My podcast every single Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, is The Kyle Peterson Show with videocast on YouTube. My new book, The Complete Guide to the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or via me, if that is your thing. You want an autographed copy, you want a sticker, you want a bookmark, hit me up. We can hook that up. And you can hit me up, of course, over at SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. So for TJP, I'm KP, and I'll see you guys all real soon.
Are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
We're going to